Welcome back to the gun dungeon. We're going to be putting the Sig P365 XL with the Sig Romeo 0 red dot against the Springfield Hellcat with the Hex Wasp red dot. Now this is a Sig red dot, Sig gun, Springfield gun. This Hex Wasp is licensed by Springfield, so it only made sense to swap them over. I used to run this Hellcat with this 0 on it all the time, because I have put these dots side by side and I do prefer the 0 over the Hex. So starting this video out, I'm just going to let that be known right up front. This one has a little bit larger window and it's easier for me to find the dot when I first present the gun. The Hex is a little bit smaller window, but if you're doing what you need to do, shouldn't have any problems with it. So respectively, these are micro compact guns. The XL is a little bit larger, but if you hold them together, lining up the tops, you'll see the grip length really isn't that much difference, especially in the rear part here. It's really close to the same. In the front is where you'll see a little bit of a difference. Now this Hellcat is an 11+1 with a flush fit, and the 365 XL is a 12+1 with a flush fit. Now, just for comparison's sake, here is the standard 365. This is a 10+1, and it kind of matches the Hellcat a little bit better in size than the XL, but in capacity, I mean, we're one round off either direction with the Hellcat, but I don't have an optic or an option to put an optic on the standard 365. So therefore, we're putting the 12 round 365 XL against the 11 round Hellcat. So since both of them do have optics on them, let's go ahead and talk about that a little bit. On the 365 XL, you lose your factory rear sight whenever you take your plate off to install your red dot. But on this 0, you can see there is a cutout that kind of resembles a plastic rear sight that you can use with your front sight. Now, whenever I bring it up, I lose probably 3/4 of the green part of the front sight whenever I'm trying to line up that rear slot. So it's very minute. It's kind of hard to use, and you lose most of the color in the sight. Now with the Hex Wasp and the Hellcat, I can see 3/4 of the color of the dot. I can see my iron sights much better, which you don't lose it with the Hellcat. You keep your factory steel sight, and then there's a trench cut in that sight so you can see through it, and you can see quite a bit of your iron sights through this red dot, which I kind of like. I kind of like that aspect a little better, and if you come up trying to find your irons, you won't have a problem seeing your red dot. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to load up a couple mags, shoot it a little bit, and then we'll talk about them a little bit more, putting them head to head. All right, so I think these things are sighted in, should be pretty close. We'll run some and see. Didn't lock open. That probably just me the way I hold the gun. Seems to be sighted in. Let's see if this one is. Seems to be on. So now let's try to speed it up a little bit. I'll load the mags up again. Let's try her again. So I just loaded 5 rounds in each magazine here. Whoops, wrong magazine, that won't work. Just kind of present and fire. And I'm notorious for holding down that slide stop with the Hellcat. Every video I've had this gun in, I've done that. So I expected that on that one. Didn't have this issue last time I was shooting the XL, so let's try the same thing. Present and fire. Slide locked open. I did kind of nosedive the gun the first presentation, couldn't find the dot, had to bring it up, so yeah. All right, let's see how close these dots are on. Let's try 80 yarder. Whoa, high. Just right. Tell the Hellcat. Yeah, I'm gonna need a little fine tuning on adjusting those dots. They seem to hit consistently in the same spot in the dirt, so yeah, I'm gonna need a little fine tuning, sighting this thing in, but that's all we got for now. All right, so if I had to pick one between the two, this is probably going to be a little bit easier to carry, and this one's going to hold one more round, but it's probably a little easier to shoot. I like the trigger on the XL better than the trigger on the Hellcat. I like the 0 dot better than I like the Hex Wasp. But, well, and also on this one, I never get that slide to lock on the last shot, and that's just because of my grip and the way this gun's designed. With this one, it don't seem to be an issue. It's happened once so far, but on the standard 365, it doesn't become an issue on it either, and those controls are about the same. But now with this one, when I'm trying to shoot it fast, it does torque left and right in my hand, and that's just the grip design being thinner in this dimension. So the recoil does tend to bounce it one direction or the other in my hand, just the grip design in my hands. That's not a gun problem, that is a fitment with me problem. So if I were to pick between the two, God, that would be tough. I would probably, I'd say I'd have to go with the Hellcat, just because I shoot it well. I don't like the trigger as much, and I don't like this red dot as much, but I do like the fact that I can see a lot of those iron sights. I can even see the tritium in the front sight through this red dot. So that's a big player in my book, and I don't know why, it just is. I like being able to have iron sights. That way, if a battery goes dead, electronics malfunction, I've still got a gun that I can shoot. Whereas on this one, if the battery goes dead or the red dot malfunctions, I have very, very minuscule sights. I mean, the sight picture looking at the irons through this reminds you of like an old original 1911 sights with just little tiny bump front sight and milled rear sight. It's kind of like the old Bulgarian Makarov type sights. They're just very, very minuscule, and if the light's off just a little bit dim, you're not going to see those sights. So you're really reliant on the red dot with this setup, whereas you're not so much with this Hex Wasp and the Hellcat. Yeah, you lose a round with this, but I mean, both of them are excellent, don't get me wrong. They're both great platforms, but I think I like the Hellcat just a little bit better. So that's what I got for you today. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, don't forget to hit like and subscribe, guys. Until next time, stay tuned.